Hey guys, Ladero and Danielle Hart here. Welcome back to our channel. We're glad you're here. Pull up a chair, recline your chair, relax.
Get comfortable is what he's trying to say.
That's what I'm trying to say, right? Way too many words. My wife just simplifies it for me, make it simple. We want to get into some marriage stuff. Topic today is how do you use emuna in marriage?
How do you use emuna in marriage? We have books. We'll definitely put this in our link. At the end, you guys can check out what books that we are using because these books are phenomenal.
For sure. We wanted to get back to doing some marriage videos. This is how we started our YouTube channel. We started our YouTube channel doing marriage videos and talking about different things that we've learned to be able to get to 15 years of marriage.
Almost 16.
To be able to get to almost 16 years of marriage, which is such a blessing. Baruch Hashem. And we're excited. So we want to talk about just different things that have worked for us throughout the years, and we're happy to share. Okay, so let's start here. What is emuna? Emuna is faith. Okay, so the Hebrew word for faith is emuna. What does it mean? I want to keep things simple. One thing that Rabbi Nachman has taught us is to keep things very, very simple. Rabbi Nachman talks about serving Hashem with simple faith. And that's what we want to do. So with that simple faith, we also want to explain and talk on very, very simple terms. Because we can talk about deep concepts all day, but if we don't know how to take those deep concepts and bring them down to be able to make them easy to understand so that we can apply them to our lives, then what are we really doing? So with that being said, emuna is simply belief in Hashem. Belief in God. How does that apply in marriage? We believe that the amount of faith that you have in Hashem will determine the success or the failure of your marriage. I'll say it one more time. The amount of faith or belief that you have in Hashem, that will determine the success or failure of your marriage. Do we have that awareness that Hashem is running the show, or are we running the show?
Do we have that belief that our marriage is designed by Hashem?
And with that design, do we have that belief that our marriage was designed to serve Hashem? How do you grow and develop your faith?
Yeah.
How do you grow and develop that emuna? So when we think of growing and developing our faith, one of the main ways to develop your faith and make it stronger is going through tests, going through different challenges in life. Because you got to think about it. You have to also be careful what you ask for. When you pray, you got to be careful what you pray for because Hashem will give you the opposite. Here's what I mean by that. God, so you're praying and you say, God, please give me more faith. Okay, what do you think He's going to do? How do you think that your faith is going to grow and develop? Okay, well, Hashem is probably going to put you in different situations to where your faith is tested. And now you're going to be in a situation to where you feel like you don't have any more faith. You're going to be put in situations to where all you got is faith. Maybe you can't pay your bills. Maybe your marriage is on the rocks. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you're just going through a whirlwind of craziness and all you got is faith. Right? You just pray for it. I want my faith to be stronger. Okay, well, maybe be prepared to have nothing but the faith.
That's why tribulations and hard times are sometimes important and they're necessary, right? Because it's your way and it's your connection to get closer to Hashem. You can look at it as a negative thing, but if you actually look at it as a positive, it makes the situation a little bit better. And that's how me and Ladero, we've gotten through a lot of challenges, ups and downs, dark times, right? Because all we had was our faith, was our relationship, with Hashem. So, it's very important sometimes that, the things that you pray for, you wonder why it's like, I think you feel like you're in this place of like, He's not answering it, but He actually is by the challenges that He's putting in front of you.
Absolutely.
Right? And sometimes you don't know, like, you look at it and you have to realize that it's actually for your good. It's not to harm you or hurt you. That's how we looked at a lot of our situations, is that we realized that some of the things that did not make any sense to us that was happening in our life was everything that we needed.
Absolutely.
And that we didn't know why it was happening. But you look back and you're like, oh, that makes sense now, right? You don't know in the moment, but you look back and you thank Hashem and you're like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that moment. I actually became closer with you, Hashem. My emuna actually got close, became stronger because of you, because of that situation, right? So it's always important. And, we look at life challenges a lot differently now.
Sure, absolutely. How you handle and cope with each test gives you a precise measurement of the strength of your emuna.
Mm-hmm.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's really big. So how you handle and cope with each test, excuse me, will basically give you an exact, precise measurement of the strength of your emuna. So your tests, your challenges that you face in your life is going to reveal to you a lot of different things. It's going to reveal to you that maybe your faith is on 20. Maybe you got it going on in that area. Excuse me. Or maybe those challenges that you went through just broke you. And during those challenges, you wanted to walk away from Hashem because you thought he left you. Right? And so it gives you an exact idea of where you are.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, God doesn't test you to see if you're going to pass or fail it. Mm-hmm. He already knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
God gives us tests for us to grow and develop so that we can see where we are. Do we need more? Do we need to level up? We can really evaluate where we are in that particular area.
It's just a revealer for us, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the main test of emuna happens at home. It happens in your home. Why do we say that? Because you're gonna go through marital challenges. You're going to go through financial challenges, job challenges, parenting challenges, and the whole 9. So all those different things that I just named are designed to grow and develop your emuna. Mm-hmm. This book, The Garden of Peace by Rav Shalom Arush, he talks about a lot of incredible concepts. And she has the Women's Wisdom,
The Garden of Peace,
by Rav Shalom Arush as well. And they're phenomenal books. And so Rabbi Shalom Arush really talks a lot about the importance of being married. So he talks about how the perfection and the correction of our character happens only when you get married.
Yeah.
Why is that though? Well, when you think about being single man takes care of himself only. He doesn't have the responsibility to take care of a wife, take care of kids, none of those different things, right? He just has to worry about himself and himself only, and he's all good. Mm-hmm. Married men, you constantly have to be giving, right? You constantly have to be giving, listening, understanding, be inspiring her, comforting her, honoring her. So it's a totally different dynamic being single versus being a married man. He also talks about how men are incomplete until we get married. Once our wives come into our lives, now we become complete. So he says one's objective in life is to cling to Hashem, His Torah, and His commandments. Apparently, it's easier to do so as a bachelor, without the yoke of a wife, children, and livelihood. If so, one could surmise that Hashem would want us to remain single so we can serve Him with no outside interference. Even the Gemara says that a married man has a milestone around his neck. In other words, a formidable burden. Yet the reality is that Hashem doesn't want us to remain single.
Right.
Hashem punished Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, because they didn't take wives to marry, even though they were, according to the Zohar, righteous men on the level of Moses. King Hezekiah, a pious and upright sage with the soul of Mashiach, who's in merit of all Israel in whose merit all of Israel learned Torah, received a heavenly death sentence because he hadn't yet taken a wife to marry. The sentence was only rescinded when he quickly married Isaiah's daughter. So this leads us to ask, why is it so important to get married? Why were those that didn't marry punished so severely? Nadab, Abihu, and Hezekiah simply wanted to fulfill the mitzvah and learn Torah without any disturbances. And to cling to Hashem and to enjoy the sublime spiritual delights of the next world in this world. Okay? So here's the answer. Here's what Rav Shalom Arush says. The purpose of creation, one's observance of Torah and attaining a tikkun, which is a correction of the soul, can only be achieved within the concept of a marital relationship and a peaceful home. Therefore, marriage is senseless without shalom bayit, which is peace in the home. Without
favorite word.
It is her favorite word. Without marital peace, why marry? Why commit transgressions and make your wife miserable, since one can observe the Torah fully and attain a tikkun only as a married man? If he doesn't get married, he renders himself superfluous in the world. Even worse, the world can't be fully corrected if the individual doesn't fulfill his purpose. Powerful, powerful stuff. So basically, there was a very, very holy tzaddik, a very righteous man. And he had a desire to learn Torah, to cling to Hashem. He wanted to just serve Hashem. And so he decided that he was just going to remain single, though. And so he wanted to just find a secluded house where he can devote all the days of his life to Torah. And devote all of his life to Torah and divine service. So basically, his time came where he passed away, and he definitely thought. This tzaddik thought that when it was his time to go in front of the heavenly court, he thought that he was going to arrive with parades, right? He thought there was going to be. He thought that there was going to be people waving flags, cheering him on. He thought he was on that level. He wanted to remain single, no kids, no marriage, no nothing, just me and Hashem and his Torah. So,
mistake.
so basically, it talks about he was very, very disappointed. So basically, his time came to come in front of the the heavenly court. They said, hey, you learned a lot of Torah, you prayed, you did all your necessary blessings, you put on tefillin every single day, you wore a tzitzit, you observed the Sabbath and the holidays, and you even fasted even more than you required. You've done a good job in observing the mitzvahs. But there's a problem with all your good deeds. You didn't complete the mission that you were supposed to complete in the physical world. You learned Torah, but you failed to implement what you learned. Had you married, you would have seen how far away you were from true Torah observance. From then, you would have had to invest much more effort to fulfill each mitzvah. Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So he said, the Chief Justice said, he added, didn't you know that the entire purpose of learning Torah was to acquire emuna? The level of emuna that you attain is extremely inadequate. He said the level that he attained just by being a single man, reading Torah, committing his life to divine service, the level of emuna that he attained was very, very low. Had you married, you'd been... This is good. This is where I'll end it. Had you married, you would have been required to face a long list of trials and tribulations with your wife, when she would have hindered your Torah learning with her various demands. You would have failed the test. Whether she would have belittled or scolded you, you'd have tarnished your soul with anger and complaining. Only then would you have seen how weak your emuna really was. That's what we talked about earlier. When you go through the challenges with your spouse, with life or whatever, it gives you a precise measurement of the level of your emuna. It lets you know where you are. So this Chief Justice was letting him know that if you would have been married, see, you couldn't see this as a single man.
Yeah.
Only if you were married, you would have seen how much you needed to grow in this area.
Yeah, that's really good. Which it goes to show just the importance of marriage, right? And having each other, having your spouse, especially husbands having your wife. Your wife plays a major role as far as with your, especially for the men, for your emuna to really grow. And I think, you know, in that story, it just made me think so much of just our situations and things that we've gone through. Like I kind of mentioned earlier in this video, I mean, there's particular moments of, you know, going through maybe some financial challenges, right? And it's like, if he didn't have maybe, or he was a single person going through that, and he didn't have his, you know, me or whatever to help him in that situation, you know, how would his emuna been strengthened through that situation?
He also said, you thought you trusted in Hashem, but if you'd been faced with the challenge of providing for a wife and children, you would have seen how frail your trust in Hashem really is. Every time you've been faced with a financial problem, you would have sunk into a state of depression and despair. So this kind of ties on to what she mentioned. You know, my wife mentioned that we were faced with a lot of different challenges financially.